I'm going to work on this Ficus microcarpa. I bought it as a Ginseng ficus, which you often see in stores. I didn't like the root on the bottom, so I just took a big cutting, and this is that cutting, and rooted the top of the tree. Because I really like this nice tight foliage. I believe it is a Ficus microcarpa, but I'm not positive. But it's quite rooted into the pot now, and I've let it grow out quite a bit, pretty leggy. So I'm going to repot this, take some cuttings, and yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so here we go. I'm excited to see what the roots look like on this thing. So I'm going to get it out of this pot. So I'm going around the edge of the pot with this to separate the roots from the side of the pot. And I think it'll just pop out. I do that. I also find it helps sometimes if I push on this in the hole with my finger on the bottom. Doesn't want to come out. Take this moss off. There we go. So it really looks like the roots didn't grow extremely well, honestly. I'm surprised there's not more roots in here. And they, you can see now the better, this is really the top that I sawed off right here. This did have that big Ginseng ficus bulbous thing on it. So I just sawed right through that and put this in this pot right here, and it rooted pretty well. But the roots really are concentrated right here in this little section actually. It was very hard to get this out of the pot, yet it's really not very pot bound, just on this one side. And actually, I'm realizing I almost always had it under my grow light. I had it tilted this way, and so this side got all the light, most of the light, and all the roots grew on this side too, actually, or most of the roots. Some roots grew on the back side. This is the back side, but mainly they grew on the light side. So that's interesting. So I'm not going to trim off a lot. What I'm going to do is I'm going to trim these big ones, but the littler ones I'll just leave. So just the big ones I'm going to trim. But yeah, I really don't. I mean, there's not too many roots at all on this thing, which really now maybe doesn't surprise me because this, it was a cutting. It had no roots a year ago or 2 years ago, so it actually isn't too surprising. There's not a ton of roots. So I'll just take off, I'm going to take off this big, there's a big root right here. Take that off. And there's maybe one or two more big roots, but I'm not going to do too much. Frankly, it has a pretty bad looking root system. It's not radial or anything. None of the roots grew up here. They all grew right. No, they grew at the cuts. That makes sense. So, yeah, they grew right at the cut site. Here's another big one I'll take off. And I'll take off, there's two big ones growing down right here. So I'm going to take those off as well. But honestly, that might be it. And I guess I don't regret repotting this because taking those big roots off, that'll stimulate more fine roots to grow. And hopefully I'll keep getting some more root growth on this. Because yeah, they're growing a little weird, and really I think it's also because I put in this little pot. Maybe I should have put it in a bigger, wider pot like I did in my last Ficus Benjamina that I just repotted. So maybe that's part of the issue too, why I don't have a very radial root system. Yeah, so I might, I don't know, I can't decide. I might raise it up in the pot. I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, I am going to just put this drainage screen back in. Wrong side. Drainage screen back in. And, you know, before I repot it and position it, I think I will prune up the top. So I'm going to go wash my hands off, and I'll prune the top off. Alright, so I'm back. And yeah, I'm going to start pruning the top. And with these, I am going to root these. Or I should say attempt to root these. Ficus root really easily from cuttings, like I did with this. I mean, this is a cutting, so it was a little under 2-inch diameter cutting, and it rooted quite quickly and did well. It's growing really well. This is our Ficus. This grows even colder than 65 degrees Fahrenheit in my basement during the winter. This thing keeps growing. Very slowly during the winter, but it does grow at very low temperatures. So I'm basically just cutting all this down. I was attracted to this tree because I like the really tight inner nodes. Here. So there's a really quick start. Kind of broke that leaf off. And yeah, I was thinking of defoliating this actually, but I don't know really what the point is. I've been slowly transitioning this into the sun. Although it got really cold here recently. quite cold. So I've been having to keep my tropicals inside during the night. So I've been slowly transitioning this, but yeah, it could really use some new leaves. These leaves are really old at the bottom here. So yeah, I might end up defoliating this, I'm not sure, when the weather gets warmer. But it's starting to develop a decent branch structure, and it looks nice right now pruned this way. I might take it down 1 or 2 more internodes, but maybe not. I think this is pretty good. So it looks in scale again. Doesn't look overgrown anymore. And as for this big section, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I want to keep this below the surface level, because this kind of recalls Ginseng ficus to me when I see this fat bulge at the bottom, which is what I didn't want. But maybe I'll raise it up a little bit, because I had it buried pretty far in the pot. Could also twist it a bit. This was the front. Yeah, I still like that as the front. Definitely. That's still the front. So we'll go with that. I'm just going to put some of this soil back in. And yeah, again, by cutting these bigger roots, I'm going to cut that one too. It'll hopefully stimulate some smaller roots to grow. I'll make it less tight in the pot. Yep. Alright, yeah, it was just a very slight adjustment, but that's better. I like it better now. So now I just need to give it a water, and it should be good. Alright, as for the cuttings, I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to take most of these leaves off. And I'll take also the brand new leaves off, because these are very new, also tender leaves, so I'll actually cut those off too. So I'm going to use this pair of leaves right here. And I guess I'll leave maybe 4 on. Because you want some leaves to generate energy for the tree, but you don't want too many leaves because they also transpire, or it can cause water loss, so you want a few. Just a few leaves like that. And I think, you know, 3 to 6 inches is probably good. This is about, actually just 2 inches. Let's see, let's do this one. So I'll take the new tender leaves off. Just take most of these off. And I actually went to the store to get some rooting hormone today, because I thought I was going to do this. I'm going to cut at an angle too. I'll expose more surface. Yeah, to get rooting hormone, but they did not have it. But it's ficus. Since it's ficus, I think it's going to root just fine. I'll also do an angle cut on this. Again, I don't know if that matters too much. And there's nodes all up along this branch everywhere, because leaves and roots generally come from nodes. So there's a few nodes right here where the roots can come from. So I have 2. Oh, this is a big one. Do this one. I'll take that tip off. let's see. It's got these 3 cuttings. I'll just go with 3. And I have these little trays here, or not trays, pots. And what I like about these, I just got these. They have these covers. So I pre-wet this soil. This is just succulent soil mix. So just a normal potting mix, but it has a lot of coarse stuff in there. And I've already watered it, pretty moistened. I'm just gonna make a hole, stick the cutting in. And then put the little lid thing on it. Maybe. There we go. And it has these vents too, which is kind of cool. So I will just close this vent. And so it will be quite humid in there. Actually, probably like near 100% humidity in there. And this tree these leaves will photosynthesize and hopefully roots will start growing. But I think for this one, my big cutting, which is all this was, I think it is only 6 weeks maybe that it started to grow again, and I was pretty sure there were roots in there. So I'll do the same thing here. Insert the cutting. Lid. And last one right here. And I don't actually want more ficus because honestly, this isn't my most favorite tree. It's one of my least favorite trees. I guess I'm just not a ficus guy. Still, I have it. But I'm going to make more of these because it is a cool variety of ficus, and actually I might give these away, or you know, just a few weeks ago there was a festival by my house, and I actually sold some plants, so I might, you know, give these away or sell them eventually. I can imagine making like smaller bonsai from them, or maybe I'll have a change of heart and decide I love ficus. I don't know. But I don't foresee that happening. But still, ficus really easy to root from cuttings, and this is a really cool variety of ficus. I mean, look at the inner nodes and the leaf size. It's quite tight. It might be Green Island ficus. I don't know, but I think it's Ficus microcarpa. But there you go, repotting and pruning of my Ficus microcarpa, which I made a cutting of from a Ginseng ficus. And I think I have a picture of that. I'll have to show that, the original tree. And then some ficus cuttings. And I'll look at these again in a couple months and maybe give a short update to let you know if the cuttings rooted. Alright, so I finished with this tree. I was looking at it and I thought, man, these leaves are so old. I want some new leaves on this thing. So I changed my mind. I am going to defoliate this. I know it's commonly done with ficus, especially this time of year. And here in a couple days, I'll be able to put this, well, I can put this outside during the day now. But I'll be able to leave this, put this outside. It'll grow new leaves that are accustomed to the sun. These leaves very well could burn. Although again, you can slowly transition indoor plants to outdoor. If you want, you can expose them to maybe an hour of sunlight the first day, and then gradually work it up hour by hour, which is kind of laborious to have to do that. You can also just stick them out in the full sun after they've been inside all winter, and their leaves will burn and get damaged, and they won't look great, but then they'll grow new leaves. Or you can defoliate, and the new leaves will be accustomed to the sun. These leaves are old. I mean, I feel like they've been on this tree for well over a year. And I'm pretty amazed with ficus, they just hold on to leaves. At least this ficus does. The Ficus benjamina seems to lose them more readily. This way too, I'll be able to really look at the branch structure. I might take the branches down a little bit more. Almost done. Alright, so there's the actual branch structure. Now you can get a better look at it. So it's developing, and yeah, honestly now, looking at it, I don't know if I would prune it anymore. It looks pretty good. I don't know if I need to take any more branches off. I could get rid of this branch here. Definitely could do that. I don't think I will though. The thing with pruning branches, you can always do it later. You can think about it for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for a year before you take a branch off. But honestly, I don't feel a huge need to take any branches off. If anything, looking at this, I realize I could have planted even more in the pot that way. But, it's pretty good. It's still definitely off-center to that way, which is where you want to pot it. If it leans that way, you generally want to pot it in the pot that way. So, yeah, there is, right here, I'm going to take this down a bit. And I'll take that down a bit. Seeing for any branch sections, or looking for any branch sections that are especially long, but there aren't any. So I think we'll call that good. One last spin. So here it is a month later. It's much warmer now than it was when I worked on it a month ago. And as you can see, it's doing really well. It's budding out all over the place. And I think for the first 2 weeks or so, nothing as expected. No leaves were emerging. And so in the last 2 weeks, this is what's been going on. So I think it's going to do really well. And it's budding out all over the place, even in places I don't really want it, but just to help it gain strength and vigor again. After the repot and defoliation and prune, I'm going to just let it grow. Honestly, I can't see myself actually pruning this even later in the summer. I'm probably just going to leave it be until next year maybe. But doing really well, really happy with it, and it's going to look great when some of these small leaves get even bigger.